if you're lucky enough to find a gentleman like me that can help you, well, then that's
do
even
your
better.
list. Do your manifestation list.
Do your manifestation list and get one of these.
So, as a creative, I knew that I always wanted to run a business, but I didn't know the businessy things. I'm Kim Russo, owner of On Brand Designs, creator of the Profitable Brand Designer course. And this is my cute man over here.
I thought we were going to say handsome man, but I'm handsome man Jeremy, co-hosting the show with Kim, hoping to share some knowledge and laughs as we share our journey together as an entrepreneurial couple.
Thanks for being here, and I hope you enjoy this episode.
Hey, and welcome to another episode. We are excited to take you down this journey with us and want to kind of share a little bit of a backstory on what we do and how we became entrepreneurs and what our business is all about, since we've kind of covered how we met.
We covered the fun stuff.
Yeah. Well, this is funner.
More fun.
Funner.
Funner's not a word.
I like to make up words.
You do.
So does your dad.
We should have him on the podcast. That'd be great.
Yes. Jimmy Toolisms.
Be here for 5 hours.
But a little bit about my story. So On Brand Designs started 5.5 years ago, September 2018. And when I started it, I was kind of in a place where I knew I always wanted to have my own business, but didn't understand all the businessy things, and took in whatever work I wanted to do, whatever work I got, was kind of in this freelancer mindset of, whatever came my way, let me get it. I didn't know how to really run a business. I just knew how to create designs and graphics and packaging design and logo design. I was all in the creative and had worked in corporate for over 10 years in New York City.
You knew how to make a mean bracelet.
A mean bracelet?
No, like a really good bracelet, like the little bead bracelets that you made when we were in quarantine. That was good.
Oh, yeah. And I still do.
Mm-hmm.
I actually need to make one tonight.
That's right.
Well, and that's because I have always been a lifelong creative. I always drew as a kid, colored, went to special art classes. I think my senior year actually was taking all art classes except for like one science class and maybe one math class that I was forced to take. But math's not my subject.
It's not.
That's Jeremy. He's the numbers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I always look at him when I have a numbers question and second guess myself, which I did realize afterwards that you agreed with me when I said that I was 10 months older, that we're only the same age for 2 months, not 10 months.
I mean, I knew that. I don't know if that was a misspeak or not, but I knew that we're the same age for 2 months, and she's 10 months older than me.
The rest of the time I'm older.
Yeah. So she's got 10 months of being older than me and 2 months to say that we're the same age. But, you just look a lot younger than me, so that's the plus.
Yeah.
You got those good genes.
Yes. I don't look like I'm 41 right now, thankfully. Although I don't really know what 41 looks like. Anyways, but to how I'm 41 and I've had such a long career is because I'm oldish. Oldish. But I had I lived in New York City for 17 years and went to FIT for packaging design and worked in packaging design for big corporations, where huge brands. So seeing my stuff all over grocery stores, drugstores, it was a cool experience. I got to work on these amazing projects and really learned how to keep things on brand, because I had to do a lot of stuff with line extensions where you're taking a product and you're rolling it out to like 15 SKUs, which if you don't know what SKU is, it's each different item with the barcode is a SKU. So that's how they refer to it in the packaging world.
But you saw yourself all over the stores, like your face?
Yes.
Like you were all over Times Square?
Oh. I saw saw the graphic designs that I have done.
Wow.
Yes, that type that I re-ragged down to the next line that I touched on a package.
Well, you do see your face all over Charleston. You're all in the magazines and everything. So, yeah.
Wasn't that in New York City, but maybe one day.
Yeah.
It'll be the two of us, this picture right here.
On the cover of the New York Times.
Well, I think when you're on the cover of the New York Times, it's probably not.
It's not good. It's not good.
So
not good.
Maybe we'll just be in the like entrepreneur section of the New York Times.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I worked in corporate for a long time and knew I wanted to run a business, but didn't know how to do the businessy thing. So always assumed I needed a partner. And the first 2 years of my business, well, the first year I started, left New York, long story short, had moved here to Charleston a year after I started my business, and then met him like a month and a half later. So I was only really a year and a half into my business when we met. And it's so different now than it was then. I still had this freelancer mindset, but wanting to figure out how I can do something more with this. I had a team and art directors and people below me when I was back in corporate and hadn't done that in a really long time. And so kind of had these conversations on repeat. I think it was really when COVID, it was kind of slow. And I was like, what can I do to drum up business? And really starting to think about how do I actually market myself? Because it was all word of mouth. And now to this day, word of mouth, I would say, is my strongest marketing tactic. But it's increased so much with the visibility that I've had and the networking that I've done to put out there. So it's just on a different scale. But because it was on such a small scale that I need to figure out how do I, like, where am I taking this business? Like, It's not just Kim Russo designer, it's on brand designs.
Well, something that I'll add is during those COVID years or whatever, you did invest a ton in yourself, like a ton. And I know that is what propelled your knowledge of the businessy side of what you need to accomplish in this industry, because you taught yourself through, and a lot of it was online. So a lot of it was through online courses and understanding, what do I need to do to be successful? And then to add on, when you were actually able to get back into the world of like the face-to-face connecting with people, that only propelled you even more because you were able to get out and network and, to be successful in your industry and to go from freelancer to the entrepreneur. You have to do those things. You have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in your mindset. You have to have the knowledge. So investing in a course to get you where you want to be is kind of a non-negotiable. And then also having to go and put yourself out there, and you're very much introverted.
Yeah, so I kind of went all out. Like as soon as things opened up, I was never a networker. I never really had to, especially working in corporate. Now, networking for corporate is becoming buddy with people in different pockets. And that was something that I was never good at. I had my friends, but it was a very cliquey political environment. And I think that almost intimidated me to going out to networking. But after everything opened up and I really had this like mission to grow this thing, I had to take my introverted self and be as extroverted as I can. And I think along the way, I've gotten better and better because it's feeling more confident. That's the biggest thing that has shifted, I think, since we've been together.
I mean, I'm smiling because I'm sitting here just, knowing, how Kim was and how her personality was so introverted. We've all, ever since our relationship began, we've always been able to joke with each other and get each other to open up about certain things. But just in a networking social setting, like when we first, because I was kind of pretty much right there by your side when you started networking. So to see you blossom and grow has been amazing to, kind of see you just kind of tiptoeing around the little circles to just running the room and owning the room. And, so that gives, hope to anyone that may feel introverted that's like, I could never do that. Well, Kim didn't think she could either.
Nope.
And
I couldn't even think I could be on a podcast, let alone have a podcast and be a guest on so many that I have already.
Yeah.
And speak on stages and places that I never thought imaginable. But I do have to credit you a lot for this because, one, maybe we'll discuss this later on, but I've always been in narcissistic relationships where I feel like me having a voice or me having all these ideas and creativity were always knocked down by either the man feeling emasculated because I had good ideas, not wanting to allow me to shine in that way and sort of beat down my ideas. And you really embrace what I say and do, and you don't put me down for it, but doing that and encouraging me has helped me to build my confidence. And the other point to that is helped me become an extrovert where my voice does matter and speaking up can be, received well. And you also being an extrovert, and I think sometimes you have your introverted side.
Yeah.
But you were way more extroverted than I was. You could even talk to a rock. Like you, and being out even in social situations where you love to go meet new people and talk to people. And I kind of was put in situations, not in a bad way because you're just so friendly, but where I needed to make sure that I was working in the room too, or I was, stepping up and communicating with friends to make better friends or meeting new people. And so that helped with my confidence to be able to go up and talk to strangers now.
Right. And I think that also, and this is something I wanted to mention from what you said earlier, is just being able to own the room. And you had to have a mindset shift. So you've done a lot of mindset work, which is very valuable too. And in order to be successful as an entrepreneur, there's no sugarcoating it. You have to have that mindset shift in order to overcome that introvert that you are or were, and that makes a big difference. And if you're lucky enough to find a gentleman like me that can help you, well, then that's
do
even
your
better.
List. Do your manifestation list.
Do your manifestation list and get one of these.
We're gonna put in the show notes the manifestation worksheet.
Yeah,
so.
And so the mindset, the manifestation stuff, all that is coming in later episodes, but it is a necessity to being an entrepreneur or being successful in the journey that you choose to be in.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge thing. And I do talk about it a lot. And that's been the biggest shift. It's been including myself in rooms of people that are like-minded or even have bigger goals than I do to, sort of take that energy in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I mean, I've seen you grow in those circles and become an ambassador to the groups that you're in now. So just from what was it? What did we say? I think we said that started kind of heavy networking in, was it 2022?
So it was really 2022.
2022. You did a lot of the coursework, kind of like I would say a year and a half, maybe from like the middle of 2020 to 2021, because people were still kind of staying away from each other through 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So people weren't really out in the open as much. Because I remember that first event downtown in Charleston, where they had the CBG stuff, and that was kind of like, that was starting to open things up, where people starting to get out and shake hands.
I did my first, the relationship coach, which is what we explained last time, was that how I kind of met you and worked with that relationship. That was my first experience with working with sort of self-development, coaching. And she helped with my business ideas too and helped to keep me accountable. So that was like my first tiptoe into that world. And then it was, during that time, still things hadn't completely opened up, but I was approached online on LinkedIn, actually, a couple of times from someone who has a group cohort and a course. And it was a big ticket, but it was the first time that I was really introduced in the business coaching side. And I was at the point where I'd saved some money from overworking. And knew I needed to change. And I kept telling you this story about how I needed more for my business and I didn't know how to get there to you. We mentioned we take 2-hour car rides locally a lot. And I feel like I was draining you with the same story over and over again because I just felt stuck. I knew I had this vision and this idea. I didn't know how to get there. And that's why investing in help and reaching out to other people who have figured it out is what helped project me to this path that I'm on now and have gotten to help others.
Well, I think also to add to, like, if a vision that deep and meaningful to you is put in you, in your mind and your mindset, if you take the actionable steps to achieve that vision, like, we talk about the universe is just going to get out of your way and you're going to achieve that. But that also comes with the right mindset that, like, you have to take those actionable steps. It's not like, oh, well, I think I can be a great entrepreneur and just have that thought, but take no actionable steps. Well, then it's just going to be a wish. So you have to have that mindset of, like, yeah, I can definitely achieve that along with the actionable steps. And you did that 100%, like 1,000%. So that's why Kim in this industry is the person to learn from when it comes to how do you go from where you are as a freelance graphic designer or just freelance in the design industry as a whole, and understand, like, if you want to learn how to shift that.
Really, any creative.
Yeah, any creative.
Because it's taking our creative brains, and we didn't learn the businessy things in school.
Yeah.
So, although I do think that going back in time to my college years, if I had taken more entrepreneurship classes, maybe it'd be in a different path. And that's why I did invest all of this time and money and effort into not trying to figure it out by myself anymore, because that clearly was going nowhere. That was the repeated conversation. And so investing into coaches that helped me, taking the right courses, going into the right cohorts, and being in the right networking groups, and doing the self-development too. Like, so, mindset. That was something that was never spoken to me, like, as I was going through life in my 20s and 30s in New York City. Now, nobody said, like, you've got to have the right mindset. And sometimes I kind of wish I could go back and teach myself this stuff in my 20s and 30s. And so if I can impact this life onto somebody else that is a creative that is younger than I am, or even at my place where I was just a couple of years ago, heading into my 40s, like, that is my mission now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even people that are older than you that are looking to make a change. I mean, any age is really, it's all about that mindset shift. And I had a good thought. No, I don't know where it went. It'll probably come back in a little bit, but it was awesome.
Yeah. Was it a mindset shift?
Nah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where it went, but my goodness,
okay,
it was a good one.
We'll get it back.
Yeah, y'all missed out on that one.
You were talking about older people?
No, that's not even what it was about, but it was really good.
Well, maybe one day.
Yeah.
We'll find out. But yeah, so and I think being a creative, that's the easy part. I mean, sometimes working on a specific project might be difficult, getting into that zone and working with specific clients can be difficult, which is why I've also tried to master the client avatar. So I'm not a full nicher. I believe in niching down to be clear on your messaging and who you want to serve and your audience. But figuring out the client avatar is what really ended up helping me with the design business, because it's who at the end of the day you want to work with. And that's what creates successful work. I know I just went on a tangent on that, but just kind of going back to, like, I feel like I was born with this divine gift to create, and it, for the most part, can come easy to me to design and create, and it's in my blood. It's what I do. But the business side of it and the stresses of owning a business too, like, that's not for the faint of heart, which is why you have to, like, put in all the extra self-development work to be able to grow and make sure that it's something that you even want to do. So
yeah, because I mean, some people, and this might have something to do with what I was thinking about earlier, but I mean, I just feel like there are certain people that, you know, are they like to be told what to do. They like to be structured, and hey, set this assignment in front of me and I'll do it. And so entrepreneurship is not for everyone. I mean, I've mentioned in the last episode, I hate for people to tell me what to do. Like I don't like it. So um I've always kind of, you know, gone to the beat of my own drum. So but there's some, you know, times where, you know, you just kind of have to focus yourself as an entrepreneur. But some people, you know, like to be told exactly how to do certain things, but then there are those people that have that drive to do their own thing. But you have, oh, here it is.
Yay!
Here it is. When you were talking about, you know, learning those skills from people that have already done it. So to go down a path that someone has already, you know, chopped down the path, and hey, here's how you do it. Here is where you go. There's the exact steps that I took to get where I am today. And if you want to come down and follow this path of how I became successful, well, then follow the blueprints that someone has already laid out. And you've laid that out in your course as exactly what you did to get where you are. So how else do people learn these days other than, you know, taking a course to learn from people that have set aside or set in motion like a blueprint on how you achieve the exact same goals that you want to achieve. But you have to invest in yourself, you have to invest in your mindset. Kim invested so much time, money, and energy to create the, you know, the thoughts and the blueprints that she's put into place today.
Well, and even in school, I mean, I went to FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology, for packaging design in New York City, and it was a great experience. But I learned my skills as being a creative and a designer in the programs by working with people in the industry, like sitting next to me, having other designers who had way more experience, art directly, sit there with me, like teach me all these things. And I never learned anything in school about business. I learned some stuff about design, but it was real world stuff that gave me those experiences. So for me, if I could go back, I mean, I wouldn't want to trade in my college experience. I had a lot of fun, but learning from other coaches who have, and course creators who have figured this stuff out in the real world has been so much more beneficial to me. Not saying anything bad about education, but just this a space in this world that we're living where we can just absorb it all and we can learn so many things. I think that's a big part of how I'm able to serve my clients too so well and lead my team and come up with all these great ideas to grow the business, is because I'm learning and being inspired from other people that have figured it out and have gone down a path that I emulate and I want to, you know, I'm not going to say be like, because that's not that's not where I'm going with this, but they figured out the vision that I have, and why not learn from somebody who's already figured it out?
Yeah, and I think also too, to your point on education, people are learning through digital courses that people have created. So if you don't want to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars into going to a university, well, you've got people that have already created and taken their knowledge and put it into a very affordable course to show you exactly how to do it. So if you're sitting there thinking, I mean, Kim went to FIT, that's, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars. Well, you don't, I mean, if you don't have the means, then you probably have some money to invest into a course that can get you guided in the right path. I think that's how people are learning. I know how how people are learning these days, because unless you're going to school to have a particular trade of being a designer or being a doctor or being a lawyer, you know, you need to, you need to go to school for like being a doctor or being a lawyer to learn all the laws and stuff like that. But if you just want to learn how to build a business, you've got professionals that have already been to those universities and learned everything, and they've concised it down to put it in a digital format. And that's just how people are learning these days, is through online courses, and that's exactly the ticket. So don't feel like you have to go to an FIT. You got an FIT graduate right here.
To build your own business. Or go to business school.
She spent the multiple thousands of dollars already for you to get her knowledge.
To party in New York City.
Yeah, I mean.
Love my 20s. But why don't we talk about you? Because you kind of have always had some sort of entrepreneurial spirit and have had positions where you are a little bit more independent than the path that I went on in corporate. And having you by my side as I'm going on this path to growing On Brand to being such a, successful and growing even more design business, you have also been there kind of as a support to me to vent, I guess is the proper word, talk about some of those frustrations I have when it comes to the businessy things. And, when it's up to me to do the invoicing, now I have a bookkeeper, so I don't have to worry about that. But, when it comes to figuring out what is right for the business and talking it through, like I share everything with him because he is from a different, I'm a creative brain, he's a business brain. So having his input to help me out and guide me, and coming from a place where he does my health insurance, I don't want to think about that stuff or worry about it, but it's all stuff that's super important as a business owner, knowing how to where to put my money since I don't have a 401k anymore. All of that stuff. So
so over the past 20 years I started out in banking. So I've really worked in the field of banking, investments, and insurance in corporate capacities, semi-corporate capacities, semi-corporate capacities, because what I'm getting at here, semi, because, in banking, yes, I had to go to an office. I was 21 years old when I started doing that. So go to an office every day. I was a personal banker. So, I've helped families understand how to work a budget, develop the different buckets of where their money should be. So it's always, even from my early 20s, not to mention, I've always had a fondness for numbers, or working with money and just helping people understand where do they put it and how do you leverage it properly. That's always been something that's kind of come second nature to me. I am not as creative. I consider myself to be kind of creative.
You're awesome with the content.
Yeah. So, I'm kind of a well-rounded guy. So, neither here nor there. But, my strengths lie in helping people understand strategies around leveraging different, financial situations, whether that be, again, through working with companies that I was doing investment management for, insurance-based stuff. And yes, I was with a few corporate structured companies, but even then, I was still had an autonomous schedule to where I wasn't really, nobody's really looking over my shoulder. Kind of in the banking world, but that was only for about 6 years. So then I kind of went into more of an autonomous, and I like that structure, right? And now I am completely autonomous, but still help people with their insurance and their investment needs, and some employee services, and different types of investment structures that we'll probably get into later on down the road in some different episodes. But completely, having the freedom to do it on my own and broker those services out. So, but yeah, just to be able to have the freedom to, come and go as you please.
I remember I used to get in trouble for New York City subways, also up late at night, but would get in trouble for being 10, 15 minutes late, but would not even be recognized that I wasn't taking cigarette breaks because I didn't smoke. I wasn't taking lunch breaks. I was eating at my desk, and I was staying at least 2 hours late every day, meeting my friends out when they were already pretty drunk because they all worked in finance and were at happy hour at 4:30, and I was meeting them at 7:38.
Yeah. But I've always, I've always been a people person. Like she says, I'm extroverted. I have my introverted times, so I'm not, but I have always enjoyed talking to people, getting to know them, and understanding, like, again, marrying that financial aspect and just my outgoing nature, having people open up to me and be able to explain to me, what are some of the struggles that they're having with their financial lives and how I can help, again, make that better. Like, where are the buckets that we need to fill up, and and put certain amount of money into. Where's your investment money? How is your insurance looking? Because insurance does nothing but protect you from the unforeseen events that could come, could happen. So everything works together. But here's the funny thing: we weren't taught that in school. Like, we were never taught, like, actual good financial management. I went to USC for business. There was really, I mean, yes, you have your accounting classes and all this stuff, but there's just, like, unless that's your focus, like, there's really no good, hey, here's how investments work. Here's how insurance work. So there's, you people just do not understand that part. But I enjoy, like, bringing the light to the conversation and helping.
When did you know you wanted to be more of an entrepreneur? And
well, I was always
more independent.
Like, even when I was working in the bank, I mean, I took, I kind of took some, like, side gigs and stuff like that, and they led me down a path, honestly, that really helped open my eyes to being, entrepreneurial, because they were, again, going back to mindset, going back to, like, reading books that really expanded your thoughts on, like, do you really have to work a 9 to 5, or can you find ways to make money outside of just your 9 to 5 and create additional income streams? I've always, like, thought about ways to, make money. I've been involved in, real estate, renting out properties, and just, like, anything that we can do to create extra, side incomes, especially in today's economy, is, you almost have to do it, because a job's not guaranteed to anyone. Anyone can be let go from their corporate job, which is another reason why entrepreneurship is something people should really look into. Because, yes, it may be stressful. Yes, you may have to learn a lot, but you write your own ticket. You are able to be your own boss, and you don't have to worry about somebody walking through, unless you want to fire yourself. You have to worry about, but that's just called quitting. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, just it's kind of the uneasiness of sitting around in an office, and all of a sudden there's a knock at your door, and maybe your numbers are great, maybe it had nothing to do with you, but they're laying off, X amount in the company, you didn't make the cut. So, not only is it, smart just to have, it's very smart to have multiple streams of income, but, I've always, like, from a young age, just knowing that the corporate structure wasn't for me.
Well, I remember when we met, especially coming from New York, I was super impressed that you owned an additional home, like a condo, as a business.
Yeah.
That you rent out. So coming from New York, I couldn't even buy anything. So I've only rented and only knew that life. So to meet somebody who had an investment property and treated it like a business, I was like, okay, this guy's got it.
Yeah, it's, but just, like, buying the place.
See, now I wanted just to decorate. I want more properties just to make it look pretty, which we did do over quarantine.
But I have,
your condo look pretty.
Like, even the house that we live in now, I was able to see where the market was going. And, at the time I was renting a house, and I hate renting. Like, I absolutely hate renting, because it is throwing your money away. So I like to own the property. So when I saw this house that we live in, I was like, well, we've got to, jump on this, because, and now we're in the Charleston market, and prices have skyrocketed. But, I also know that, it's kind of a hyper-inflated numbers, but I've just always, I've always looked for things that I know are going to be good investments, and, and jump on it.
I bought a she shed.
Yeah, which is a good investment. Definitely a good investment. So,
but
yeah,
saving for the ultimate house.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, we'll dive more into some, investment strategies and things that I like to talk about in future episodes. But that's what really kind of makes this relationship even more special, is that I'm able to kind of help her understand, different aspects. She's getting it, like she's got it, but it's fun to, kind of say, well, why don't you, think about doing it this way, or, so we're able to talk it out like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super helpful. And I don't feel like when I share something with you that maybe doesn't make sense or isn't maybe a wise decision, you don't make me feel stupid for it. You just educate me.
Well, not to your face.
What? You tease me more, baby.
Oh my God.
But I like make fun of myself.
What came in from Amazon today? I got 10 packages sitting out on the stoop.
Well, it's usually for you because I'm a gift giver. Oh. That's my happy zone. And your love language is gift receiving. So,
well, what they can't see are those flowers that I brought to her today. So
I know, they're so pretty.
Yeah.
They're
gift giver.
Well, they can follow us on social media and see all the things.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that's going to wrap up today. And, we're excited.
Oh, I know that's going to wrap up today because I'm hungry. You got to go eat.
Well, you have to go cook.
I do.
I don't cook. He cooks.
Nope. And we'll get into that one too.
So I'm going to go do some billing.
Billing.
The not fun part.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it brings in the money.
Well, if you're doing billing, then that means you've had jobs. So
lots of jobs.
Lots of jobs. Lots of billing, which just means more money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good.
Okay. Well, let's go eat. See you soon.
Thanks for listening. We hope that you enjoyed listening to this episode as much as we enjoyed creating it. Make sure that you follow On Brand Designs on all social media pages and on Instagram, The Profitable Brand Designer, to get the latest episodes, releases, and tips and tricks for brand designers. And also,
you can also follow us as a couple on Instagram at Profitable Brand Couple. That's profitable.brand.couple. So we hope you follow us there and like and comment.
And subscribe and follow us on YouTube to see us in action.
There you go.
Thanks for joining.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.